Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. Main card predictions for UFC Fight Night, Hill versus Rountree. And I quickly want to get something off of my chest. I want to address something. I find it near impossible to focus on this Fight Night event, knowing damn well UFC 317 is right around the corner. And it is expected of me to give my undivided attention to this Fight Night card. Well, UFC 317 is standing right there in the form of prime Jennifer Love Hewitt and staring me in the face, and I'm not allowed to look. I'm supposed to just lock in. And comparing it to basically when you have a conversation with either your wife or your girlfriend, and you know full well, as soon as this conversation ends, you're gonna go play a round of golf with your mates. But your girlfriend or wife is standing here yapping about how you should conduct yourself, how you should behave, not get so drunk that you want to divorce your dog, but the only thing you can think of is that first tee box, approaching it, hitting that golf ball as hard as you can for it to go 15 meters and land in a bunker. But you're expected to give your attention to this right here. And I don't even think that this Fight Night event is gonna be bad. I think it could be exciting. I think it could be interesting. We have fighters from Azerbaijan fighting on this card that is in Azerbaijan. We have in the main event the big units being deployed, Hill versus Rountree. In the co-main event, Airborne Brigade, lightweight division, Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. And prior to that, you have the heavy artillery inside of the heavyweight division with Curtis Blaydes versus Ruslan Kuniev. We have Sadykov on this card as well. It's just difficult to not look at prime Jennifer Love Hewitt. It is extremely difficult. And if I look, it's because I'm human. So before I get into the video, just a friendly reminder, if you enjoy it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. It would be awesome. You're awesome. Now let's try and do it. Now, if you're confused because I look a little bit different, it's because I finished my intro and then I had something to do. Then I went to go do it and it took way longer than I anticipated. And then afterwards I thought, okay, I'm just gonna go train, and now I'm here. Nope, showered, clean. So yeah, I'm not saying I wasn't clean in the intro. I'm just saying that I am also clean. So starting off the main card inside the featherweight division with Muhammad Naimov, he is taking on Grad. And if you're new to this series, last week I decided that I'm no longer gonna analyze every fighter, analyze the fight itself. I'm basically gonna go in raw. Okay, I'm basically gonna go in blindly. The only thing that I do research on is each fighter's respective record. That's it. Because I tend to overanalyze, and especially in the past I overanalyzed a lot, and then it came back and bit me in the ass. So I decided I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to take this new approach, and it didn't work out whatsoever. But I cannot do it just once and then base my hypothesis on that one time. And we're starting off with Muhammad Naimov, who is 4-1 against Grad, who is 1-0 inside of the UFC. And if we look at Muhammad Naimov, his last fight against Khan Offley, he did look somewhat impressive. Khan Offley is good. He was a finalist of the Ultimate Fighter, and he ended up beating Khan Offley, not as dominant as you would want if you are a Naimov fan. Prior to that, he lost to Felipe Lima, and prior to that, he beat Eric Silva, and he actually looked really impressive in that Eric Silva win that he had. If we look at Grad, in his last fight against Lucas Alexander, he looked good, mixed it up very well, his striking with his takedowns, and then basically ended up with a winning via rear naked choke. And I think it's going to be interesting if whoever wins the grappling exchanges, I think will dictate who wins the fight. Now that might sound obvious, but I think if Bogdan wins the grappling exchanges, on the feet, he looks way better. according to me, than Muhammad Naimov on the feet. Where Naimov might be a better grappler, might be a better wrestler, use that to his advantage. I just think Bogdan Grad wins this fight. I think the majority of the fight will play out on the feet. If it does, Bogdan Grad has the upper hand. I feel like his striking is better. He is a more sophisticated striker. With Muhammad Naimov, I think he needs to get this fight on the ground. And even if he does, I think Bogdan Grad would be able to stand up or even defend his takedowns. I think Bogdan Grad wins via unanimous decision. Then moving on to the next fight inside of the lightweight division with Nazim Sadykov versus Nicholas Motta. Now Nazim Sadykov is 3-0-1 inside the UFC. He drew one of his 4 fights, and Nicholas Motta is 3-2 with 1 no contest. If we look at the people Nicholas Motta lost to, one's Jim Miller. In Nicholas Motta's debut inside the UFC, Jim Miller might be the worst opponent you could possibly face in your UFC debut, because the only people that might be more experienced is Bobby Green and Anthony Smith if you had to combine them and have Anthony Green or Bobby Smith. That's basically it. Not only that, Jim Miller is one of the best well-rounded fighters inside the lightweight division, which sounds insane. His striking is good, his grappling is good, wrestling is good, his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is insane. So losing to Jim Miller, understandable. And then he lost to Manuel Torres as well. A Manuel Torres who knocked out Drew Dober a couple of months ago. So that's also understandable. In Nicholas Motta's last fight against Mahesh Shata, he looked really good. Okay, really good is he looked decent. Got his win over Mahesh Shata. And in that previous fight against Tom Nolan, got a good knockout win. A striker who has a glaring weakness: wrestling and grappling. And I think Nazim might expose that. On the feet, I think Nazim Sadykov is more technical, a more sophisticated striker. I don't like his guard, but he has a solid chin. Okay, I think Nicholas Motta is gonna have to knock him out using a sledgehammer, because Nazim really has a solid chin. And his head movement is solid, but he does get clipped a lot. Saw it in his fight, and yeah, the draw he had, where honestly he could have won that fight. In the Bonfim fight, didn't really take a lot of damage. He ended up winning. I think he looked really impressive in his win over Terrence McKinney. And that's the difference, is Nazim actually has grappling and wrestling that he can fall back on if he struggles on the feet. But I don't think Nazim is gonna struggle on the feet. Honestly, I think Nazim Sadykov wins this fight, and he does it standing up. I think he knocks out Nicholas Motta. It does feel a little bit, if we're being brutally honest, it does feel like a setup fight for Nazim Sadykov, having him fight Nicholas Motta. Now, I'm not saying Motta is a bum. I'm just saying Nazim, if he's fighting in Azerbaijan, he is from Azerbaijan. Maybe they want to give the crowd a blessing and have Nazim fight Nicholas Motta and beat Nicholas Motta. I think this might end up being ugly for Nicholas Motta. Nazim wins via KO, and I'm gonna say second round KO for Nazim Sadykov. I think first round he feels him out because he isn't that pressing in the first round. I think second round he times him, he knocks him out. Then moving on to the third fight, and I do not remember in which division this is, but I did check right now. Lightweight division, Tofik Musayev is taking on Miktabek Orolbai. Now, first of all, I'm proud of myself for not butchering that completely. And second of all, Tofik is making his debut inside the UFC. Now, I have learned my lesson. I really value experience a lot, especially experience within the UFC. And if it's your debut, then a lot of intangible things also goes into that fight. You might have some jitters. It is a setting which you are not comfortable with, that you are not accustomed to. I don't like that. Even though Tofik fought in Rise, and even though he fought in Bellator, this is a different beast. And we've seen champions of different organizations make their debut and look horrible. We saw Patchy Mix look like he shouldn't even be fighting someone ranked in the bantamweight division. We saw Patricio Pitbull. Now, Patricio, I can be lenient towards Patricio Pitbull. He is way older than Patchy Mix is, but he also got dominated by Yair Rodriguez. So I am not touching a fighter making his debut. If it's his second fight, different animal, because he's already been there. But seeing that it's his first fight, I don't care. I'm picking Mick the Big to win that fight. And the reason being is obviously because he is more experienced. I think it is somewhat of a pressing matter for Orolbai, seeing that he lost his last fight via split decision. Could have gone either way. And he's the guy fighting out of the States. He's the one being trained by Uriah Faber, right? I think his preparation will be good. I think he is good. I think Uriah is able to hone in on his skills, and I think he wins this fight. And I'm gonna go with unanimous decision. I think Tafik might look impressive because he does have some substantial wins in Ryzen, in Bellator, but I'm not picking any debutants. I don't care. John Jones could go to Bellator, come back, and fight again, and I would not pick him to win that fight. That's how I feel at this point in time with fighters from other organizations. So you know what? Miktabik Orolbai wins this fight via unanimous decision because of logic that we've seen throughout the last months in this year. It has been abundant that we cannot pick these guys to win. I might be rooting for Tafik because he is fighting in Azerbaijan. He's from Azerbaijan. I think that would be awesome if he wins. I'm gonna pick Orolbai to win that fight. Then moving on to the next fight, heavyweight division, Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Now, could you imagine I went on this rant of how I would never pick a debutant inside of the UFC, and then I go ahead and I pick Rizvan Kuniev to beat Curtis Blaydes? That would be epic. Spoiler alert, that's not gonna happen. I'm picking Curtis Blaydes to win this fight. Curtis Blaydes is 13-5 inside of the UFC, meaning he has had 18 fights inside the UFC. That is more fights than Rizvan Kuniev has had in his professional career. Curtis Blaydes has had 13 wins inside the UFC. Curtis Blaydes is a former title challenger inside the UFC. Curtis Blaydes is currently ranked number 5 in the heavyweight rankings of the UFC. Rizvan Kuniev is making his debut. Now, sure, he looked good on Dana White's Contender Series, especially in his last fight against Hugo Cunha. Given. And we could say, listen, Rizvan Kuniev is an imposing figure, a lot of power, devastating power. Does he have more power than Tom Aspinall? Does he have more power than Sergey Pavlovich? Does he have more power than Derek Lewis? Does he have more power than Francis Ngannou? Those are the strikers Curtis Blaydes has lost to. And those guys hit harder than a bus. Now, sure, Rizvan could also potentially, but to go against Curtis's experience, the fact that his wrestling is really good, it's a 3-round fight. In 5 rounds, we saw Curtis's cardio be somewhat susceptible. In 3 rounds, it holds up. He is able to wrestle. Prior to losing to Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blaydes put a beating on Jailton Almeida. And I'm supposed to think Rizvan Kuniev is going to beat Curtis Blaydes? And it's not because Rizvan is a bum. It's not because he sucks. I'm just saying that experience is undervalued because it really helps a lot against a guy who might not be, he's not accustomed to fighting at a UFC heavyweight pace. It might be different in different organizations. His opponents won't be the level that they are inside of the UFC, and it's Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes wins this fight, second round, ground and pound. That didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I think first round he tires out Rizwan Kuniev by grappling and wrestling with him. I think second round the damn wall breaks, Curtis Blaydes wins, and even if Curtis ends up winning in that fashion, I think it would still be impressive for Rizwan Kuniev. His debut against the number 5 ranked heavyweight. How? This does not make sense. But I hope my prediction does. And then moving on to the co-main event, lightweight division, Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Now I would usually tell the audience when I'm biased because one of my favorite fighters are fighting, then I'm gonna be biased, so I'll tell them that I'm biased. Listen, I'm gonna be biased. Rafael Fiziev is winning this fight, and due to my biases, yeah, that's why. Rafael Fiziev is 6-4 inside of the UFC. Ignacio Bahamondes is 6-2 inside of the UFC. The reason why Rafael is winning is because the level of competition he has fought just outweighs the level of competition Ignacio has fought. And if we look at Rafael and his record of 6-4, it's not really a fair representation of how good Fiziev is, especially within the UFC. He has wins over Brad Riddell, Rafael Dos Anjos, Renato Moicano. Now I know Jalen Turner is good, and I think Manuel Torres is also good. I don't think they are Justin Gaethje level good, or Matthias Gamrot level good, or Dos Anjos level good. And Fiziev ended up beating Dos Anjos. He lost to Gamrot because he was injured. He got injured in that fight. Had that fight go the full distance, might have been a different story. He lost to Gaethje the second time. He took that fight on short notice. He might have ended up losing that fight as well. We don't know. But those aren't really two fair losses within the UFC. His first fight against Gaethje was insane. Actually had Gaethje hurt, and then Gaethje bounced back. That's how good Rafael Fiziev is. In his fight against Justin Gaethje, he was a favorite to win that fight because he was on that massive streak. Now Bahamondes is currently on a 3-fight winning streak. That is good. Is it enough to beat Rafael Fiziev? Is Ignacio Bahamondes knocking out Rafael Fiziev? No. Is he going to use wrestling, grappling? No. Is Rafael Fiziev going to knock out Ignacio Bahamondes? Possibly. Does he have better cardio? I think so, especially with regards to high level competition, especially with regards to the way that he fights, the pace that he knows is sustainable, what he can and cannot do because he is more experienced, because he has had 5-round fights. I think Rafael wins this fight. I think he outstrikes Ignacio Bahamondes, and I'm gonna go stoppage. I said I'm gonna be biased, so I'm gonna be biased 100%. I'm not gonna be biased and say unanimous decision. I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna say second round knockout. Rafael Fiziev gets it done over Ignacio Bahamondes. Do I have any good reasoning behind that? No, none whatsoever. Basically sucking everything out of my thumb. But I think Rafael Fiziev wins that fight, and I'm praying that Rafael Fiziev wins that fight. And nothing against Ignacio Bahamondes, but that's just how it goes. Moving on to the main event, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree, light heavyweight division. Now Jamahal is 6-3 inside the UFC, Khalil is 9-6 within the UFC. This is interesting. And I honestly, once again, basically on the fence, and it couldn't go either way. But I think Khalil gets it done. I think Khalil gets it done because of recent run of form. Jamahal Hill on a 2-fight losing streak. Those 2 fights, both of them lost via knockout. Both knockouts being devastating against Yuri, against Alex Pereira. And Khalil Rountree, if we look at his performance against Alex, he looked really good. As good as anyone looked against Alex and lost. And with regards to his fight against Alex, he really had Alex in trouble, especially in the first 2 rounds where he actually won those rounds, used his leg kicks to great effect. I think he will use that against Jamahal Hill. Now Jamahal does have knockout power, we've seen that in the past. I just think Khalil is extremely durable Alex Pereira, who is one of the hardest hitting men ever created to walk on this planet, was struggling to knock out Khalil Rountree. That is how tough Khalil is. And it looked like Khalil got butchered in that fight, because he did. He got butchered, but he didn't get knocked out clean. It wasn't like he got dropped. No offense. In the same way Jamahal got dropped. I don't think that Jamal's power will be something that Khalil has to worry about. However, the opposite applies. Khalil Rountree has power that could steal your soul, and it could send your soul to Jupiter, and you would basically end up meeting your ancestors. Khalil Rountree has a lot of power. His power is more, I'd say it's more described by just brute force, where obviously Alex Pereira is way more technical, and Pereira has an insane amount of power, but it's way more technical, where Khalil, it's just more brute force. Basically just wants to run with you through a wall. And I think if he clips Jamahal, who's been knocked out via ungodly strike, against Alex, against Yeri, if Khalil touches him, I think Khalil will be able to knock him out. And I think Khalil will be able to utilize his leg kicks. If there's grappling, I honestly feel like Khalil has the upper hand with grappling as well. So it just feels like this is Khalil's fight to lose, because I think he should win this. If he loses it, I think it's more testament that he lost it rather than Jamahal winning it, if that makes sense. But if Jamahal knocks him out, then listen, Jamahal Hill deserves all of the accolades that he would get if he knocks out Khalil Rountree. I don't see that happening. I in fact see the opposite happening. I think Khalil knocks out Jamahal Hill in the third round. I think first 2 rounds, it doesn't go in Jamal's favor. It looks bad. He does get caught. I think he will have good moments in those first 2 rounds. Third round, I think Khalil catches him and knocks him out. That is basically my predictions. Are they horrible? Yes. But could all of them land? No. But let me know in the comment section, which ones do you agree with, which ones do you disagree with. I would really appreciate that. Have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you in the next one.